Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're exploring a phenomenon that sits right at the intersection of deep human emotion and fascinating biological science. If you've ever lost someone you love, you know exactly how overwhelming grief can be. It's not just an emotion, it's a heavy physical toll on your body. But in the midst of that quiet, agonizing space, millions of people have experienced something totally unexpected: the sudden, vibrant appearance of a red cardinal. So today we're going to break down exactly why this specific bird seems to show up exactly when you need it most.
You didn't plan it. You weren't looking for a sign, but there it was. This quote really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? A loved one passes away, maybe a parent, a spouse, or a best friend, and within hours or days, a cardinal just appears. It lands right at your window, on your porch, or sometimes even right at your feet. And in that moment, the physical tension of grief actually pauses in your body. Your slumped shoulders still, your breathing slows down, and something deep inside you just says, okay, that's not a coincidence. If you have ever felt this, let me assure you, you are not alone, and you're absolutely not wrong to feel a profound connection in that moment. Section 1, a flash of red, the universal experience of a sudden visit. To really understand why this impacts us so deeply, we have to look at the psychology of grief. In the field of psychology, there's a term called continuing bonds. Basically, it describes the ongoing psychological connection we maintain with someone even after they pass away. And these moments, they don't just happen at random. The cardinal usually appears when your body is actively, physically manifesting grief. Think about when you're sitting totally motionless, heavy with emotion, crying in their favorite chair, or standing perfectly still at the cemetery. The bird's arrival during these absolute peaks of physical and emotional vulnerability is exactly what triggers this documented psychological bond. Now, what's truly staggering here is the sheer scale of this experience. Studies show that between 40 and 80% of widows and widowers report post-death contact experiences. This isn't just some fringe belief, it is a massive, documented part of the human experience. And among all these reports, animals are cited all the time, with birds being the most common. And taking the absolute top spot, the cardinal. Moving on to Section 2, Culture, Comfort, and Meaning, how tradition frames the cardinal. So why the cardinal, right? Why not a sparrow or a blue jay? Well, the meaning behind the specific bird is deeply woven into multiple cultures. In Native American traditions, like those of the Cherokee, that vivid, impossible-to-ignore red color was viewed as a sacred marker crossing over into our visible world. It was never seen as a haunting. It was a warm, comfortable reminder that love simply doesn't end at death. Then, on the flip side, the bird actually gets its English name from the Catholic Church. It shares its name with the red-robed cardinals who represent the sacred and the divine. Over the centuries, these dual cultural streams have completely merged. That means for so many American families, when this bird arrives, it physically carries layers of historical comfort that you don't even need to explain. You just feel them. Section 3, the science of stillness. What is the bird actually doing? So here is the big question. Is the cardinal somehow tracking your invisible emotional state? Well, strictly speaking, science would say no. But is it tracking your physical calm stillness? Absolutely yes. Research from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology confirms that cardinals are incredibly perceptive when it comes to human body language. When you are totally consumed by grief, your physical body usually becomes incredibly still and quiet. You might be slumped over, completely motionless. And it turns out that exact lack of physical motion is what signals safety to a cardinal, drawing it closer to you. So in a very real way, your physical expression of grief is biologically exactly what invites the bird in. You might also be wondering why the cardinal almost always seems to visit you alone. Well, that comes down to territorial loyalty. Male cardinals are fiercely territorial. They don't migrate. Their bodies are built to stay year-round. If a male cardinal decides your yard or your window ledge is his territory, he's going to patrol it entirely alone, returning to it day after day out of pure biological instinct. Think about what that means for a grieving family whose whole world has just been shattered into unpredictable chaos. The physical, reliable constancy of this single bird returning to the exact same spot provides an incredible anchor of comfort. And this brings us to one of the most uncanny parts of the whole visit: the stare. Unlike humans who look straight ahead to see things clearly, birds have something called a fovea. It's an area of highly concentrated visual focus located on the sides of their heads. When a cardinal lands, tilts its physical body, and turns its head sideways to look at you with one super focused eye, it is not just casually glancing around. It is actively using its sharpest vision to intensely study you. And get this, it leads us to a stunning, documented reality. Studies on bird cognition actually reveal that many songbirds can distinguish between individual human faces. Let that sink in. So when that cardinal is tilting its head and studying you, it very well may be recognizing you specifically. That intense emotional feeling you get of being chosen or being truly seen by this bird, it is entirely grounded in documented peer-reviewed science. It literally knows who you are.
Section 4. A song meant for you. Vocal complexity and deep connection. Cardinals are also incredibly vocally complex. Unusually for songbirds, both the male and the female sing. And they can actually alter their vocal cords and their songs in real time depending on their environment. Researchers at places like Ohio State University have noted that when a cardinal sings softly and persistently near a human, it is not sounding a territorial alarm. That physical vibration of the song, paired with a soft, relaxed body posture, indicates a behavioral state of calm engagement. It's basically the biological equivalent of simply being with someone. So, for the grieving families who feel that the song is intimate and meant just for them, the science absolutely supports that the bird is communicating in a state of calm, gentle presence. Let's think about human grief for a second, the profound emotional pain and the literal physical ache of losing a life partner. Cardinals actually mirror this in nature. They form long-term pair bonds, often mating for life. They show this deep physical tenderness toward each other, like mate feeding, where the male gently places seeds directly into the female's beak. And when one partner dies, the surviving cardinal has been observed physically returning to the exact places associated with their lost mate, waiting and calling with a lowered, softer posture. The bird at your window literally embodies the physical persistence of love long past separation. Section 5. The constancy of love, returning when everything goes quiet. We all know that on those terribly hard days, maybe 6 months, a year, or even 3 years later, the heavy grief often resurfaces. And suddenly, the cardinal comes back. To an ornithologist, this is just territorial loyalty. It's a biological drive to return to a known food source, memory, allowing their bodies to survive the harsh winters without migrating. But to a grieving family, it's a spiritual visit. It's a reassuring presence from a lost loved one right when the pain peaks again. But here's the beauty of this explainer. We don't have to choose between these two perspectives. The biological reality of this fiercely loyal bird and the profound emotional truth of the grieving human body can absolutely be true at the exact same time. Now, if you want to intentionally create a physical space to welcome these fiercely loyal birds into your own life, here are some incredibly simple, actionable steps derived from the experts. First, cardinals prefer platform feeders filled with safflower, sunflower seeds, or cracked corn. You can also plant low, dense native shrubs like dogwood or elderberry to give them physical shelter. Their bodies are most active at dawn and dusk, so those are the best times to look for them. But really, the absolute most important step is simply to be physically present, stay quiet, and keep yourself open to receiving the moment. I want to leave you today with a question. Have you ever had a cardinal visit right when you needed it most? If you've been sitting quietly, navigating that heavy physical and emotional weight of loss, and that sudden flash of red appeared at your window, trust your attention. Trust the biology of a bird naturally drawn to your quiet stillness, and trust the emotional comfort that it brings to your body. It's an unforgettable encounter where science and spirit beautifully collide. Keep your eyes open.